Hello and welcome to Blog Sprout. I'm LJ, and today I'm going to go through my 4th month on my niche site case study. If you're not familiar with this site, I have a playlist in the description that'll take you through the income reports for the first 3 months, but this is the income report for April of 2022 on a single site. So what this video is going to cover are the major milestones that I achieved this month, the number of articles posted, the overall page views, the Search Console trends through Bing and Google, my income, my expenses, and then I'll go over some of the problems I had, the lessons learned, and the goals I have for month 5. So the major milestones for this month is that last month I wanted to have 30 articles posted, which I did, have $50 in affiliate revenue, which I did, have over 10,000 page views to reach level 1 Ezoic, check, and earn $150 that month in ads and try to beat that $15 EPMV. As you can see, the only thing that I didn't achieve is that $15 EPMV, but I'm very, very close. So the major milestones is I had said in the last video I didn't want to do video ads through Ezoic, but I'm playing around with it only on desktop because I think it's too distracting on tablet and mobile. But on desktop, you can kind of get away with the size of it basically in the sidebar. So I've added it only to one category where I've made 2 very informational videos that are a slideshow format. So this is helping me kind of test out if I want to continue with video ads. I was able to migrate to level 1 out of the Access Now program on Ezoic, which is really exciting. I reached over 100 articles posted in total, and I have since created a content strategy that's going to guide me through the end of the year to cover all of the basic material that I want to cover for this site. So the articles, I posted 34 articles, just over that 30 mark. Most of them are in that 1,000-word average. I have a few that are as low as 300, but I really tailor the word count towards the competition as well as making sure I answer the question for the users. So page views for this month. What you see here are the historical page views. As you can see, we have a nice growth. Google said that I reached 15,000 page views, which is awesome. And Ezoic had slightly higher, almost 20,000 page views, which is really exciting. Google Analytics showed 11,000 users, whereas the page views was near 15,000, which I showed on the last page. So what we're seeing here is that every user on average visits 1.4 pages on my site. And what we see here are the Ezoic page views month over month for month 4 versus month 3, so April over March. We can see that we had 130% growth of our visits, 140% in page views. Everything is going up, which is great. On the bottom of the screen, you can see the total visits. So the total visits was 16,000, which yielded 19,000 page views. And the engaged page views of that 13,300 is much closer to the Google page views that we saw in the previous slide. So that's something that I'm continuing to monitor and seems to be a reliable trend to follow. On the Ezoic page views, this is the overview from the start, and you can see we have some really, really nice growth here. I'm hoping that this continues to trend upwards and we don't plateau, but part of that is dependent on me continuing to publish content. So my Ezoic traffic sources have, in prior months, come from DuckDuckGo and Bing, and now we can see that Google's having a huge part of traffic, bringing over a quarter of the traffic, which is great because Google's known to give really good earnings through ads compared especially to DuckDuckGo. That's been very much underperforming. And we're getting some Yahoo, and believe it or not, Yahoo is actually is the highest EPMV earner on my site, and it does have less traffic, but that traffic is very valuable. So I'm going to see if that plays a role into my long-term strategy. So next we're going to look into the Search Console results. So on SEMRush, I only have the free plan right now, but it shows that I have 88% of my content and the keywords that my content is ranking for informational, and that's exactly what I expect. It says that's bringing in 13.7 thousand, so not too far off from what the other metrics tell me. I said I wanted to up that transactional keyword, and that's actually great because I'm approaching 8%. So I don't really want it to get much higher than that, but I'm going to have to take a look into what exactly those keywords are, because not much of my information is actually transactional in nature. So I'm interested to see which keywords are coming out as transactional. And that's something I'll maybe look into in the next month. So my Google Search Console overview from when the site was first indexed by Google, I've gotten a total of 4,000, almost 5,000 clicks with over 250,000 impressions, which when you think about that is wild. We have a nice uptrend on the average position, and across the entirety of its inception, it's at an average 17.7, but we can imagine at the end of month 4, it was doing much higher. So as we'd seen before, we had 4.7 thousand total clicks from the beginning, and 4.4 came from this month. So I'm really starting to see that upwards growth, which is great, and almost a quarter of a million impressions just this month. The average position is crawling up and is averaged 15, but remember, this is across all the keywords, and some of the keywords are going to do really well and some of them are going to do really poorly. So that number isn't the most representative of how the traffic's going to come in. So on the Bing Webmaster overview, I have a total of 8.8 thousand clicks, which is pretty good with the click-through rate of nearly 7. So with average position being 4, Bing really likes my content. The one thing I noticed throughout this month, and as you can see, we're actually seeing some of the May content, is I'm getting this weird trend of this up and down. And I haven't quite figured out what that is. I thought it was due to weekends, but it's not. So I do apologize. This is showing some of the May, since this is about a week and a half late being posted. So gives you a little sneak peek that month 5 is going to be really good. So in month 4, we had 3.7 thousand clicks, which is actually comparable to what Google had at 4.3 thousand. So Bing and Google are starting to match up in terms of how much content they're driving in. So Ubersuggest, I have the paid plan of Ubersuggest. It's now saying I have a domain authority of 8, which before I believe it was 4. So that's great. My backlinks, I still haven't quite figured out this whole backlink issue. Someone made a comment last month that I shouldn't be getting backlinks unless I have a expired domain or something of that sort, but I can promise you I don't. But as you can see, most of these links are no follow. So I really only have 10 real backlinks, and I did some investigating, and it looks like some of them are coming from forums where people are posting my information to answer a question on there, which is great. It gets user engagement. But in terms of, quality backlinks, it's debatable on how valuable they are. So SEMRush Backlinks said I gained 800 backlinks this month, which is kind of wild. Again, those can't be all that legitimate because that's a lot of backlinks for a site that doesn't do any active backlinking. And I continue to mention I'm going to keep monitoring this and see if I can figure out why it's happening and where it comes from. So the SERP tracking, what we see in the bottom right is since December of last year, how my how these keywords are continuing to rank. And you can see finally at the top we have some yellow, which means I have some in the top 3, which can also be seen on this chart on the left. Most of my keywords are ranking in this 21 to 50%, but we're starting to see that some of them are kind of creeping in towards the front, which is obviously what we're looking for. Again, this takes into account all keywords, not necessarily keywords I'm targeting. And on the SERP features, if someone can help me a little bit understand this metric, that would be great. But what I'm paying attention to is this little crown, which is featured snippets. So I have 67 featured snippets, and this is also people also ask, and it says I have around 118. This I was reading was links, and this is images, but I can't quite understand like what images or what links it's really using from my content. But we're going up. That's what I care about. So SEMRush Authority keeps me at the same position as last month. So those backlinks that I acquired must not have really made a difference in my authority score. Compared to last month, I only went up 141 1,000 spots compared to 1.7 million. So let's look at the income. This is what I know you're all waiting for, but it's super exciting. And if you saw me in the podcast from Chris from Blogger Revolution, you'll know the answer to this question is that I made nearly $300 this month. 2 cents short, 2 cents. But that's okay. I think this is a great number for month 4. I mean, I think it's incredible from what I've been reading and listening to others. It's very unusual to get this amount of income this early on, especially for someone who's doing it solo and really hasn't invested much in content creation or anything like that. So from Ezoic, what we're seeing at the bottom here is the total revenue and total EPMV. So the revenue reported here is both money earned by the Ezoic ad partners and through the Google Adsense mediation. So as I mentioned in the last video, Ezoic allows Google Adsense to compete for spots that Ezoic offers on your site. And Ezoic will report that revenue for both the Google AdSense and the Ezoic partners. So we'll see on the next slide how much I made exactly from Google AdSense. So here, across those 16,000 visits, you saw 229. And what I'd like to see here is every day I'm continuing to increase, which I should because the number of page views is increasing daily. And Google AdSense income is a little bit more sporadic because it's based on individual bids. So I don't believe I'm going to have a significant uptrend. If you look closely, there's a slight uptrend. And that's just to be expected by the sheer nature of how many ads and how many people are coming to my site. But what you can see here is I made almost $50 from Google AdSense alone through the mediation through Ezoic. So Amazon affiliates, this is not really an affiliate site. It's more an informational site, but I do have articles in which I provide informational content and recommendations that yield to click on Amazon associates. I have found that a lot of my orders aren't exactly the products I recommend, but I get people to click them, and then anything else that they add to their cart and purchase, I'll get commission for. So everything is just slightly under a certain number. We had slightly under 300 total, slightly under 50. This one's slightly under $70, but it's still great. We're starting to see, like, around the middle of the month, the average clicks seem to bump up, which is great, and we started to see more ordered items. And as we can see here, there's one ordered item that hasn't been shipped yet, so that commission will come in next month. So Ezoic video ads. This was the first month that I created and placed videos on my site. As you can see, I did that, looks like on the 20th of April. And in terms of page views for these videos, there have been 3.5 thousand, which has led to 4.2 thousand play count. But as you can see, I have a 0 EPMV. So even though it's on my site and I've gotten over 1,000 views, it has not brought in a penny in month 4. So hopefully that improves, and we'll stay tuned for next month to see the actual results. So let's look at the EPMV, the overall EPMV for just ads. So to determine this, you have the ad earnings over visits. So since the visits are different for both Ezoic and Google, I'm listing these metrics separately so I can get an idea of the range that I'm in. So Ezoic reported $14.21 for my EPMV, and with the Google visits, that led to $17.05. And the overall, so now this includes my affiliate commission, I like to see how much am I earning per visitor. So this is going to be higher because I'm including the Amazon affiliates, but the visits are staying the same. So in this metric, I'm over $15 in EPMV. With the Ezoic visits, that's $18.61. And for the Google visits, it's $22.32. Compared to previous months, this is actually a little bit lower, but that's okay. I'll continue to monitor it and see how it changes over time. So what we're seeing here is just the overall like P&L, profit and loss statement for this site, and I am finally in the positive. So as you can see here, I had an upfront cost for my hosting and for my themes and for Ubersuggest of $269, which yielded a net loss of $266 in January. Then I lost $50 last month because I paid for some work on Fiverr. Then I became positive and about cut my negative in half, and now I have officially earned back all of the money and expenses I have paid out, and I am at a profit of $130, which is awesome. My return on investment is coming back. Of course, I'm working too, so it's not totally passive, but it's great to see that coming in. So what were the expenses? Similar to last month? Absolutely nothing. I am trying to keep my expenses as low as possible. I want to make this a one-man show for as long as I can until I get to scale that up. I just listened to a podcast from Niche Pursuits, and the guy they recently just interviewed is a one-man show, and he's making $20,000 a month. So I hope that I can build my site to that point if I just continue doing what I'm doing and really treat this business seriously. So lessons learned. Fortunately, this month was pretty smooth sailing. I really only had 2 things to note. The first was that my mobile EPMV was pretty low. By low, I mean half of my desktop. And from what I've read, it shouldn't be quite half. Typically, a third is where it should be. So I found an article by Ezoic that said for mobile, you should add more placeholders because that can help improve that mobile EPMV. So I'm going to have to monitor that next month to see if it actually helped out, because it takes some time for Ezoic to kind of test out those placeholders. The other thing I noticed is on my Google Search Console, you can look at the core web vitals. And one thing that was interesting, it said that my site completely passed for mobile, but for desktop, my LCP, or largest content painful, is in the needs improvement category. I'm just over 2.5 seconds, which I guess is slightly concerning that Google is telling me I need improvement on that, considering it's desktop, and when I load it on my desktop, everything seems to go very fast. But it's possible, as I'm starting to gain traffic and I'm still on a shared hosting plan, this is something that could be factoring in. So the lessons learned is I have to add more placeholders to improve my mobile EPMV. The other thing I found out is that if your site is in that needs improvement or failing category, you actually have to reinitiate Google to test that out for you, that those changes have been made. And it takes 28 days, up to 28 days, for them to come back to you and tell you whether or not those needs improvements have moved to pass, those failed have moved up to need improvements, or if things got worse. So my goals for month 5, not 4. Goals for month 5 is, again, I'm trying to get an article a day on average. So that's 30 articles in the month of May. Get over $75 in affiliate revenue, and I got 70 last month, so I'm kind of just hoping to keep that at the same point. Reach 20,000 page views. At the rate I'm going, I think I'll achieve that, which will help me reach level 2 in Ezoic. And I hope to get invited to premium, so that'll bump up my earnings a bit. Get a total of $250 in ad revenue. Really hit that $15 EPMV. I feel like the niche I'm in can do it, and me reaching level 1 feels like I will have enough to just bump it up slightly, but we'll see. And I think my other goal for month 5 is to upgrade to cloud hosting. Like I said, I'm still on shared hosting plan, and I think it might be time for me to move to cloud hosting to prevent the shared hosting from slowing down my site. So the watchouts are keep an eye out for that mobile EPMV growth and see how that improves or doesn't improve with the changes I made, and monitor the speed as well as the desktop LCP to see if that has an effect on how my site's ranking. So we're going to end the slide again with just the overview of the site of where I'm at. Again, the total I've had $130.97 in the positive for everything that's been invested. Of course, I've spent much more than $130 worth of my time, but everyone knows this business is a long game, and certainly at the start, your efforts aren't going to directly translate to money as they would if you had an official job. So month 4 has been really exciting. Every month is exciting. I mean, growth is phenomenal, and to see these results this early is just it's incredible. And I'm humbled to be in this position because there was some level of luck, but a lot of sweat equity, as it's called, to kind of get to where I am now. And I just really hope I continue to build the site more and more and more. And I hope that these income reports help you. Like I said, this is going to be something I do every month. And hopefully I'll get to start new sites and you can see the sites I'm working on, because obviously this one I haven't mentioned the name or the domain, and that's by design. But eventually I'd like to have a public one that everyone can follow along with me on the strategies I'm using. So it kind of just makes more sense. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. I hope this is helpful. If you have any other comments or questions, please put them down below. I love to stay engaged with you guys. I'm just trying to document what I've done, what I've seen is working and not working, and you can take that as you please. So as always, like and subscribe. I'm continuing to think of more videos that I can put out that really help you guys. So if you have any requests, you can fill out the contact form on my page, or you can just leave a comment. I've been writing down every single comment idea of the videos you guys want, so I'll get there. I'm doing my best. But if you're still in those early stages, I have a video of the things you need to do before you monetize that just came out. So follow that link and start to monetize when you're ready. I do suggest monetizing as soon as possible. It really helps keep your spirits up when you're putting in all this work and you can see a cent or two coming in a day. So therefore I recommend doing that with Ezoic. Ezoic has been really helpful, very friendly, and relatively easy to use. And I'm very excited to kind of see where I can go with them now that I'm in level 1, hoping to get to level 2 and become a premium member and make my way up to a VIP. So if you want to join Ezoic, check the link below. Otherwise, I'll see you next time for month 5. Bye.